Hello artists, this is Mrs. B. Welcome to Umaarteng Penmanship. For today's video, we will be doing watercolors and flowers with calligraphy like this. For the materials I will be using for this tutorial, first I have this Baohong Watercolor Paper. It is 300 GSM. And this is cold press, and the size of my paper is 7 inches by 4.9 inches. For the paints I have from my Mungyo watercolor pens, I have sap green, burnt sienna, burnt umber, cobalt blue, permanent violet, yellow, yellow orange, and yellow ochre for the petals. I will also use Kolinsky Sable brush. This is in size 4. I will be also using pencil, an eraser. I have also some tissue and 2 jars of clean water. First thing I will do before painting is that I will sketch circles on this paper where I will put the petals of my flowers. One sunflower will be facing front, one sunflower facing left and right. The other 2 the sunflowers facing on the sides will be facing upwards. So that's what I will do. And aside from that, I will make sure that the center of the sunflower is bigger than the petals. Using sap green, I diluted it with a bunch of water, and then I will dab it to the paper randomly in different angles on the center of the flower. I'm doing it on the first flower, that is the center, and on the sides, and in that just filling in with dots of green. That will be the center of the flower, and then I will also add some brown. So I am using here burnt umber and to add more color on the center. Not just dab on the center of the flower randomly, and doing it also on other flowers that I have here. So that will be the center of it. Using the lemon yellow that I diluted with lots of water and just a very light wash, I press my brush heavy to the sides of the center of my flower from inwards going outward. And then if you can see, I leave a space in between of each petal because the petals of the sunflowers are actually long and thin, and it is layered with different petals, so we will add more petals later, don't worry. Just adding very light wash, and then after that, once the first layer is dry, I am going to put another set of yellow petals to the other side, so that is in the white spaces, just filling in all of the flowers with petals like this. So it's just light wash first with very light yellow, and you can dilute it with lots of water. So this is the first layer, and I make sure that the pencil marks are erased. On the second layer, I added a little bit of orange to my yellow to make the petals more brighter, and adding it to some of the white spaces that I still have on the flowers. Using burnt umber, I added some colors on the center of my flower to make it more darker, and I will add also some green to mix it, and I will also do that on the other flowers. Next, I added yellow orange to my petals of this flower, and I will do the same for the others. Make sure that to leave some space or a little space in between of the petals. And since this flower is looking to the other side, I added a small petals on the side, so trying to add a little bit more so that we could cover the center of that flower. And then once the first layer of it dries, I will add to the next spaces, so the light spaces that we have, and left it blank, or left it with a tiny wash of yellow to make it more brighter and to make our sunflowers look more vibrant in this painting. So let's add more of the yellow orange. Then we will be adding burnt umber more on the center of the flowers. And so this would be more layers of the center and on the petals as well. Alright, next I will be adding some green. I actually lifted some of the colors on the center of the flower and added a little bit more green to add more color, because the center of the sunflower is not just brown, it has actually orange and green. So now with cobalt blue and sap green, I added a stem for these flowers, and I will be also adding some sepals on the two flowers on the sides. Okay, using the yellow orange, I will be adding a little bit more petals on the other side of the flower so that we can show that these flowers have still petals on the other side, but it's more shorter. Then I am adding burnt umber on the center of the flowers that I did add earlier. Using darker value of yellow orange, I added more petals on my sunflowers to show that these flowers are above of the first petals that we painted earlier, because when you look into the real sunflower, it has multiple layers of petals, thin long petals, but the center of the flower is bigger. So that's what we are trying to achieve here. The technique that I am doing here for the petals is, we call it glazing or wet on dry technique. So make sure that the first layers are dry to add these yellow orange on a darker value so that it won't look like a big ball of paint. So we added more texture on our petals so that it will add more interest and it will look like real sunflower and not a ball of paint. So that's what we are trying to achieve here. Now I'm finishing the petals, and then later on we will add more details on it, and I am going to add a little bit of permanent violet to my green to mute it a little bit more, and added some leaves on this. And later on I will also add sunflower buds, and the sunflower buds are actually green because it's covered with its sepals. So that's what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to add two flower buds on the left and on the right to add more interest on our painting and add also a little more volume to it. So that's what I'm doing here. And also with sunflower buds, I'm going to add a little also some leaves on that and added a little stem. So while it's dry, I have here my Sienna and also my yellow ochre, and added a little tiny lines using the tip of my brush to add very thin lines to add more details on my petals, to add more interest, and then to make it a little bit more interesting, looks like real, that it has some lines like this. So I added that to these petals of my sunflower. Using the tip of my brush, I also added very thin lines to my leaves and also a little bit shadow on my stems. And sorry I wasn't able to film how I did it. I did not notice that my camera is not recording that part, but it is still the same, just using the tip of my brush, using my permanent violet and my sap green to add more details on the leaves and also on the buds. Using the same brush and the colors of my petals, yellow, yellow orange, and yellow ochre, and a little bit of burnt sienna, I will be adding calligraphy on this painting. I will be writing sunflower. I won't press heavy on this brush because it will give me a huge stroke, so I will avoid that and use the very tip of my brush to do very thin lines and the upstrokes. And using watercolor for calligraphy, it's actually good because it can help you to create more colorful and lovely designs with your calligraphy. Okay, just a note in this video that the calligraphy that I did here is showing real time, so you can see the strokes how I did the calligraphy. But the painting that I showed here in this video, I speeded it up so that you can save time, but you can pause it and you can also make the video slower so that you can watch it while you are painting along with me. I hope that you do so. The calligraphy on this artwork is very optional. It's up to you if you would like to add or just the plain sunflowers. It's still okay. For the calligraphy, you can add a short quote or Bible verse, or it can be a lyric of a song, or it can be a name of a person that you would like to give your artwork to. That can be really nice. I'm almost done with the calligraphy, just finishing up just a few letters. For the calligraphy, you can use different shades of yellow or different values. I actually added some yellow orange here, yellow ochre, and also burnt sienna on these sunflower words that I did here. You can try it and blend the colors so that it will look more interesting. I'm done with my artwork. I hope you like it and hit the thumbs up if you do. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more watercolor, calligraphy, and journaling tutorials that I upload every Friday. Hit the notification bell so that you will be updated on my latest uploads. Till next time!